I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Apologies, everybody. We have, as always, technical issues in the room, but I think we're up and firing. Can everybody, hey, can you hear us okay?
Yes, can hear you fine now.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, good evening, everybody. Um, Once again, thank you for your patience. I'm going to call the special meeting of the Willington School Building Committee to order at 7:37 p.m. It is March 2nd, 2026. Members present are myself, James Marshall, Adam Zalanis, um, Jeremy Brothers, and Gross John. And we have Phil Stevens. And who do we have online? We have Peter Bacon is an alternate now, so we do have room to seat an alternate. I'm going to make a motion to seat Peter Bacon in place of Adam Burke. All right. Thank you, Ann. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Hey, Peter,
Go ahead, Jim.
you are seated, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right.
Get a Peter in.
If we can get the mouse over the track.
I know, I'm sorry. I can go switch over there if you want, I can help you. Just one.
Yeah, I can't see you.
All right, thank you. All right, so without further ado, first up is community Q&A. Public participation is encouraged. Speakers are encouraged to utilize this opportunity for dialogue with committee constructively and to be limited by appropriateness, staying on topic, and maintaining decorum. I'll limit it to a max of 30 minutes. There is nobody in the room currently, so I'll go online. If there's anybody that's interested in asking a question or having a discussion, please feel free to raise your hand and identify yourself. All right. Seeing no hands.
Sorry,
Going
sorry, Jim. For some reason, that function isn't working on my computer.
Oh, no worries. All right. You got something to say? Would you like to speak?
I just wanted to comment. I had sent.
Just identify yourself, Ralph.
Oh yeah, Ralph Toulis, Village Hill Road, Willington. I had sent an email to Mr. Marshall with some thoughts. I did get a response, which I wasn't expecting. I was just sharing some thoughts with him. And I'm eager to see who you choose for an OPM. So, other than that, that's all I have to say tonight.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Ralph did reach out, but he reached out to my personal email, so I didn't catch that one in the packet for today. I'll send that following this meeting. And we'll take it from there. I'm good. All right, is there anybody else online that would like to participate in present to speak or community forum Q&A? All right, seeing none, we will move on. We've got a busy agenda. Thank you, everybody. All right, next up on the list, 3A is approval of minutes for our meeting on February 9th. It was a regular meeting. They should be next in your packet.
So are you doing these from YouTube? Or are you going to log into Zoom?
I am doing off an audio recording, not a video.
Is anybody posting them? Okay, I'm gonna own that then. I'll start making sure all of these are posted, so that way we can have the link on this document. Just makes it easier for minutes if somebody wants to look at minutes and then watch the video.
I appreciate that, Phil. It used to be done by Shannon, but I think
Yeah, no, I'll do it until somebody's
staffing turnover, I don't think. I'm not sure how expensive it has been to it. All right. So, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve February 9th minutes.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Rebecca, second. All right, any discussion? All right, hearing none. Let's just do roll calls tonight for sake of convenience with people online. Are you able to do that?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant on the computer. Mr. Marshall,
Yeah.
Mr. Bacon,
Yes.
Mr. Brothers,
Yes.
Ms. Grosjean,
Yes.
Mr. McCool,
He's
On-
not here.
Ms. Selectman, no. Councilman.
Nope, that's here.
Mr. Stevens,
Stephen is not a voting member.
I'm sorry, and Mr. Zelonis,
Yes.
all in favor.
Thank you very much. All right, every night is approved. Moving on to 3B, the approval of minutes for our special meeting on February 19th, 2026. That was our OPM. Do I have a motion? Approve the minutes for February 19th.
I'll move. In person.
Thank you. Do I have a second? I'll second. Thank you.
Who was that?
That was Adam.
Thank you.
All right. Any discussion? You don't get the credit on these, I do, Lisa?
They're helpful.
For as simple as they were.
Yeah.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, go around the room again, Lisa?
Mr. Zelonis.
Yes.
And Ms. Grosjean,
Yes.
Mr. Brothers,
Yes.
Mr. Bacon,
Yes.
and Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
all in favor.
All right, thank you. All right, also in your packet is just the meeting cancellation that was posted by the town clerk for our meeting last Monday, which this meeting is essentially. The agenda is very similar, but it was officially noticed, after the fact as the office building was closed during the snowstorm. So there was no way to post a cancellation beyond. That was the town office building closed. Didn't have it. All right. Thank you, everybody. So chair reports. I have a couple of items on this. The first, you'll see in your packet, a letter from our first selectman related to the deed revision document for Hall School. It's been signed by the Hall Foundation. The town has agreed as part of this process to pay for the legal costs, and Mike was just asking if we had any objection to the school building committee funds being used to pay for that. And I did not see a problem because that is part of this referendum. So that is being worked through, but that is one step closer to resolution to the degree that needed initially for town ownership for that property in full.
We need to make motions to spend or not.
You know, why don't we do that and I'll work that through with Mike officially. I think you should. $910. Yeah, no, we'll do that now.
You don't need it.
So I'll move that we approve the invoice, even though we don't have a copy of. I move that we approve funding of up to $910 for the invoices related to the deed revision document for the whole school property.
Okay.
Any thoughts, discussions?
Everybody knows what that was, right? Do you know what that was? I was just making sure we knew.
Yeah. Peter, you good? Any questions? If you can hear us?
All good, Jim.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we have motions and seconded. All those in favor? Go one at a time again.
And Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Bacon,
Yes.
Mr. Brothers,
Yes.
Ms. Grosjean,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens,
Oh.
and not a vote, Mr. Zelonis,
Yes.
it's unanimous.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. Phil, what we haven't done, the last we left that, just as a tag along for that, I think you had previously agreed to work with the business office to kind of pull a report document. I had reached out to Mike and sat briefly with Sherry to give her a sense of what we were looking for, but with budget season, I have no idea where that went. I have not gotten follow-up yet. I
I
can
will
ask all
follow
I
up.
would because he's away tonight.
Yep.
So if you could, we meet next week. I think it would just be a good idea if we could at least have even a draft or an
Yep.
initial pass at it, because she has to create the report format,
Yes.
I think, for it. But that said, we've had 2 expenses.
Yep.
That I'm aware of. It's it was from L #1. But we will have more moving forward as we onboard people. All right. Let's speed up. I had one other thing, but I think it's further down in this agenda now, so we can discuss it then. That's all I had at the time being. I will say I have gotten, oh, the other thing I mentioned, I have not gotten an update on everybody's emails. I've heard 1 or 2 people have. I don't know where they stand, and it hasn't come up with the select office, but I will follow up with Mike. He is traveling and back tomorrow at some point. He's out of state, so I will follow up with an update and see where that stands. I know he was in contact with Douglas, but I haven't got a resolution on it.
Not having an assistant, I'm sure doesn't help.
Yeah, that and the peak of budget season, the selectmen's budget was due, the Board of Finance, they discussed it last Thursday. Or at least I think they did, they were scheduled to, but I think they had technical issues in the room on Thursday too. So, it's a busy time of year, we're making the most of it. All right, let's get right into it then. That's all I got. I'm not gonna pull too much more time on fair report. We have a lot. So new business, item 5A, RFQ for owner project manager services. So brief background, just for the record, and for anybody who catches this in the minutes or watches it later. We are now at the tail end of about a 5-week process. And first and foremost, we had 4 responses to our request for qualifications and proposals for owner's project manager services for the committee. To assist us with the committee's work, and I'd like to thank all of our respondents. The responses that we got were very thoughtful, generally very detailed, and qualifications were excellent to see. As part of our process, the committee first reviewed the qualifications packages in isolation of all 4 respondents. They were provided ranking by each member of the committee, and what floated to the top as a result of that initial qualifications-based scoring. We had 2 respondents that scored higher than the others, and we invited those 2 respondents accordingly to come in and follow up with interviews. Those 2 were Arcadis and Collier's project leaders. We met with them on the 19th, back to back, but independently, and had very good discussions with both. I think both were very engaging. Both had good demeanor, both had good qualifications, and both were able to speak well about their roles and how they'd be able to help us in this position for the town. I suspect this is going to be a difficult decision based on some of that for some of us. But that is where we stand now. So with that said, did have 4 submissions. Anybody is technically in consideration, but I'll open. We are at a point now with the delay. We're supposed to have made this. We were scheduled to make this last week. We are at a point where we are hoping to come to a decision and recommend award. So with that said, Who wants to start? Does anybody have anything, what you have in your packet? We did ask supplemental, follow-up following the interviews that we had with both Colliers and Arcadis. You should have that information in your packet. Both are responsive to that additional request, which was largely about who is going to be the primary points of contact for us at meetings and town engagement. And you have both of their responses in front of you. There was some along last week, part of the packet. So what I will say, before we get in, we do have some members that are missing tonight. I did ask them. Actually, I'll hear from the room first, and then I'll tell you right before I go in and.
So the only question that I really had, is it, and I did not look, I was gonna. After July 1, we'll call it, do we have to go back out and get another OPM? After the fact?
We will have.
Is that true? I mean, I didn't really look it up. I mean, I know one person said it, and I'm just trying to get some clarification.
So. The expectation is that we don't have a fully defined project yet, which is why we had them split out. Pricing for justice free referendum after. There will be at least some degree of. Supplemental negotiation. Whether or not we have to go out and solicit, I think is something that I need follow up on as we work through the Office of Grant Administration process. Only because I want to make sure, and until we engage with them, I can't solidify that completely. I want to make sure that anything we do post whatever our referendum is eligible for reimbursement. So we will do whatever we need to do. But regardless of whether we need to formally solicit again for continuation of services or for services from design through execution of a project, if we get there, there will be a revisiting of it because it will need to be, if there's any, depending on what project we go for, duration shifts. So I think it's subject to
The only commitment you're making, correct, this month's like Lisa, Sam's, she just disappeared.
The only commitment we're really making is from now till post, up to referendum.
correct.
With the grant proposal ready for submission with a positive recommendation.
Through grant application.
I was reviewing Phil's question here to colors on the audit stuff. Yeah. And I found the response a little evasive. Just, I mean, you know, they didn't answer the question directly, I don't think. I think they did say that there was some people that we could refer to in the town of
Like you're,
yeah, that we could, yes, talk to them, but they did, you know. I think if they would have had no audit issues, they would have said so flat out. So. In lawyer speak, that's what it looked like.
did we ask that same question of the other company? Or?
They said they actually brought it up.
They spoke about it and it never got covered with values, so we asked them for information.
So to me, it's lawyer speak for mostly no, but
Right, yeah.
that was my interpretation. You're in business long enough, probably would have an issue, but yeah, I agree. So I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, their process, the note is their process has led to successful audits, but it doesn't, successfully maximize reimbursement for it. It doesn't really have. I get what you're saying.
Well, they also said that they had not been the OPM for the project, that they hired them just to do the audit. So they kind of jumped in at that point, which is, I would think, a little unusual, but.
Yes, they would, and they've had other ones that they've been the OPM for, but they didn't list those.
I wondered about Mansfield, but maybe they're not at that place yet. They've probably in the audit process, so they don't want to speak to that yet.
There are other ones that have been past that. They didn't, like. That was a little.
Yeah, what I will say wasn't unexpected. The other part of that response was, we were writing work plan for Willington and, who's going to be the primary point of contact, and they gave a very, very detailed, initial set of thoughts as to how we jump right in.
Who were you speaking to?
Colleagues. And that's not surprising, given their familiarity with us historically.
And I can speak for their consistency. They were there every single meeting. I think he might have been sick one, not whole entire thing, but was always there, well prepared, met frequently behind the scenes, not just at the meetings, so. I saw a real commitment there.
Speaking of commitment for attendance at meetings, we did get confirmation from the Arcadis team as to who was really gonna take the lead on that, which was, I think, what we were looking for as an answer, but, given that was, I think we left with questions, and I'm glad we were able to at least resolve that question. How do we feel about costs for these?
That was the one thing I walked away from. I thought both, we had a good conversation afterwards. I thought both firms are right to do the job. I think they're both professional firms.
Yep.
I think when we look at what they're doing for the cost difference, not going beyond that referendum, because it's a different story at that point,
Well,
right?
that's why.
Yeah.
I needed a little clarification, right?
But if you're only going up to that, really grant application. And you're, what is it 15? What was the difference?
$35,000 through grant application for Colliers and 52,369 for Arcadis.
I mean, I think you have to, if you're gonna go with a higher amount, you have to justify for why. Right, that's what you have to do. So what would the higher firm bring in that situation? Because I think they both would do the job, but your job would be to determine what is that extra value you're getting out of that.
Sam up on yet?
No, she hasn't come back. I've been watching.
There's probably a message from Sam saying, she's trying to log on. But
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, sorry.
no, it's fine. Well, while we wait, I did reach out. I got an email, that I caught 5 minutes before this meeting from Adam Brewer, basically stating. And I will find it again, just to make sure I'm not misquoting. He is leaning towards Colliers. Largely based on the Mark's experience team, in his opinion. But if he goes with Arcadis, if the committee decides to go with Arcadis tonight, he doesn't feel concerned about that as well. Like I said, I think both teams are qualified to be in good hands either. Lisa, on the other hand, was leaning more towards Arcadis. And that was largely because the way she described it to me. Sorry, looking at that as well. Is that she thought that Jack and the Arcadis team would be able to present the information in a way that would be more, how did she phrase it? That would relate better to the townspeople. And I understand that. I feel it a little bit as well. I think,
That's what I'm battling now. I mean, I think you're right. I think he'll be better off with the townspeople. But on the other hand, the price difference is a little bit, that's why, it's
Right.
there and it's like, is it really worth the extra money to be palatable to the townspeople, or you're just kind of, I know
If it's not palatable, then we're never gonna get
you're
there.
never gonna get there. Right,
It doesn't matter.
I get it.
If you can't get there, it doesn't matter. That's.
But are you gonna even, again, that's the other side of the coin, are you even gonna get there? With either firm?
Well, and that I think is where Colliers.
That's where-
They have the one up, because much as we needed to hit the ground running and we onboarded based on where we're at from a timing perspective. Once they're on, we are literally going to be debating and, considering qualification packages for architects next week, that, you know, if I can get them onboarded, whoever we choose tonight. You know, I think the ability to hit the ground running is not, with where we're at, it's not necessarily something to be frowned upon. You know, like it's advantageous. That's not to say that Arcadis, you know, would be able to step in and hit the ground full speed as well, but there's definitely a learning curve. To understand both how this committee works and what this community expects. Where I struggle is kind of a dual-sided coin, because Colliers has worked with us in the past, and the engagement or the connection with the community didn't hit, and I'm not sure that's necessarily, you know, I don't know if that's not entirely reflected in Colliers, that's the process and a whole bunch of different things, but I just wish I had heard a little bit more from Colliers about how that community outreach would be handled. How they help us with the community outreach a little differently. He did speak to it a little bit, so that's his follow-up letter.
I also like the way it's involving the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, the Board of Education.
Yeah.
Because I think if we can get, them on board, then I think we're more likely to get the community on board too. That'll help to, educate everyone. I also think one of the large problems last time was the money. The fact that it was gonna cost so much and the taxes and so I don't know that we could put that on cover.
The tax base still there.
Yeah. Yeah, but we.
Look at the percent of increase we're looking at for this year.
Yeah,
That's scary in itself.
but we
How
still
many
have,
taxpayers can afford more taxes?
yeah, but this time we're looking at more of somewhere between 80 and 90%. Before we looked at it, we thought maybe 50.
Yeah.
If we were lucky, that's a big difference.
Just a note for the record. Peter Bacon has joined us in person, welcome to Pete, at 8:04 PM.
Thank you.
Sure. They in that last night, Pete, Washington, something, okay.
Different uniform. That's a Cub Scout uniform.
Oh, that is.
The other uniform.
So if we, let's just say if we happen to pick Colliers tonight. My concern is the price of Colliers going forward and how, if we go to somebody else, how's that transition look to us? Just saying, if we pass a referendum, that transition from, let's say, Colliers to Cadiz, how's that gonna look?
If there is a trend.
If
What do you mean? How do you look out?
post, after the referendum,
Yeah.
let's just say for the sake of conversation, we go to Colliers.
Yep.
We have. And then we have to revisit this.
Yeah.
And let's just say they're $1 million, they're $500,000. So what would the transition be from Colliers to Cadiz if we happen to switch them?
Yeah,
Huh?
it could be a cluster.
It'd be fun.
Right, well, that's.
Why do you think that? That's what I'm asking.
I've seen projects
How-
with changes for like reloads in front of different mansion, it's a mess usually.
Right, you're taking Colliers and OPM now to go up to referendum.
Yeah.
Now, post referendum, we're gonna save on 500,000, you're gonna go to them, they need all that information, you don't think that's gonna go smooth? You think that's gonna go smooth?
It's, so
That's where,
I mean, I
We have that.
do this all the time, we do have that choice, so from a different perspective. It is a kind of a natural handoff at that point, it's like feasibility, grant application. At that point, whoever comes in is taking it from approval of a project and managing a specific project from day one. So it's a natural, yes, I get it. I understand. So it's not, in any way insurmountable, Jeremy, at least in my experience. And quite frankly, you know,
In fact,
well, I'm going when I'm going for public work in Rhode Island, for example, we go into this stage one, stage two, this has to be a school construction application. That's this kind of feasibility grant application approval effort. You do that because you want to get in, because it gives you a better position to get your contract out after the fact, but you rebid and you can get the larger job if you didn't win the initial one just as well and jump in and step into a role. You're really kind of, you're inheriting a project concept and a budgetary matrix essentially. And then transitioning that from day one, initial schematic onward into a reliable project.
I think we changed the engineering firm, so.
It would be
So
wonderful.
that is halfway to a project, change an engineering form
Yeah.
is a nightmare.
Yeah.
I agree. I've done that before. A couple times. It's not
I
fun.
guess my point is, it's not halfway, it won't be halfway through a project.
Yeah.
Like they'd be jumping in at the start of the actual realization of the project, post grant application, yeah.
So the
So,
potential difference isn't $500,000, it's like $30,000. Because it's reimbursable.
that's true too.
It's still tax.
It's still.
I-
Correct.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying the difference is not $500,000. It's the difference
5% of
is,
that,
it's at
Or
90%. If one company's $20,000.
Let's be real, it's not gonna be 90%. I mean, come on. I don't see that happen. I see an 85%.
Right,
Depends.
It depends, but you can't go to the higher end.
So even at that though, I guess my point is it's not $500,000, even if it was.
It's still 100,000.
It's a substantial amount. It's not,
Said and done with change orders, it'll be $100,000 easily.
so ultimately, Jeremy, I think the discussion needs to be who's gonna be best served when we get to that point. For the next round, who's gonna be best served to help us manage that project is where the real savings are gonna be is somebody who can confidently manage a $60 million construction project for us. Through design, through execution, because that is where the real costs. And any potential savings will materialize. It's gonna be a lot less in the math portion of it. So, but I think to Phil's point, I think anywhere will be 20% or less, let's say, of whatever the delta may be. And I think that can't really be quantified and will need to be refined once we get through this initial application, we get community support for as the project, for a project, a consolidated school project, whatever that may be. What are your thoughts, Pete? Let's put you on the spot, but I know you had something. You just said you.
Oh, I gotta stick to him. All right, coming out the gate in the interview, my thoughts. Collier has been here before. They have everything lined up. They know Willington, they know somewhat of the project, maybe had specs and different few changes here and there. They're a huge company, it's been around for many years, not like Arcadis. Arcadis looked a little nervous. They looked but ambitious. The numbers are showing that Collier is a little bit more expensive. In the long run, in the end, it's gonna come down to, yes, we have grants and we have the state doing their thing, chipping in. In the end, the town's gonna pay for a certain amount. Could that amount be less? And then it comes down to experience. So one company's been around for many more years, Collier, Arcadis hasn't. But from the beginning, we were being told that they're gonna be here with us, Arcadis. At the community, at all community meetings, just getting the voice out. We had Collier here once already. And in a way, they failed the first building committee. They failed it. They didn't show them, help them, teach them the way of getting to the community. What are they gonna do different? Based on the information they sent back to us from the email, one feels like they have a lot more that they could put on a plate, like Collier, but also may have been because of their experience already or contacts with prior committee members or being coached on what to present. Arcadis basically said from the beginning that they're gonna be here for us right from the beginning. They're very both knowledgeable. They have all the information. The difference between them both is from the interview, Arcadis started off from the beginning to every step forward that they're gonna be here. Jack had mentioned he's gonna be on top of everything from the interview, even on the response back. They are very professional, enthusiastic. They provided genuineness, authenticity, and the team had a quality of being real, honest, and sincere. Collier's a very knowledgeable candidate. They were a past project managing corporation for our town. They gave a sense of being more or less knowledgeable, yet coached, the prior project experience. I feel the team could not assist in complete previous projects, so it's kind of a hinder to the first building committee. This resulting in a failed development effort for a managing representative of our town. So my personal best interests at this point, based on everything in emails, and I believe that Arcadis might be the better to go forward due to the fact that not only it might be a little bit less of money towards the town in the end project of the end game. But they presented themselves as they were going to be with us from the beginning to the end. And I don't know how the town in a referendum, knowing that the last company, knowing Scott was there, and if they're gonna feel it's just we're going the same route as before. Those are my opinions. Thank you. Well,
It might not be either of the two, just to be clear. The second round, if you make it past referendum, it might not be either of those two companies. If you have to go out to bid, it might not be either of those two companies. If you're forced to go out to bid, which. Oh, you know, it's not GM, right? Right, require the grant office.
And I thought from a experience standpoint, from construction and engineering, I thought Colliers was stronger. I thought their engineering and their technical, that's what side was strong, their construction experience, their on-site stuff was strong. I felt that their community engagement did not mesh as well, I think, as Arcadis did. And I also thought their response to your question, Phil, was evasive.
I agree on that.
So we did, and in that light, I think that Arcadis has a better chance of getting it to that friend. And if we have to revisit again, because the project office committee, and I think at this point, that's what I'm worried about, is getting to referendum, getting past referendum. And that's why I think I would go with Arcadis, because they get the best chance to get us there. My perspective. I mean, I think from an engineering standpoint, I think Colliers, perhaps from there on, would be better fit. They are more expensive, but we have to rebid it anyway, so. That's kind of.
Yeah, that's been the brunt of my struggle really with this decision is what. Who gets us to referendum the most successfully, and. I think. Each firm. Can advantage the other one, doesn't, I think Colliers will be able to get around running without fail. I think Arcadis is gonna speak to this community better,
I think that's where the price reflects between Colliers and Arcadis. Colliers has all that back information,
And that's where
right?
they come.
So then they can go run it. Where Arcadis has gotta generate that information and get it from us or whatever, what you may have. And I think that's where the price difference is.
Yeah, and the pricing, oh, go ahead, Jerry.
I think the overall work is the same price, it's just the background that Colliers has already.
Yep.
And that's the price difference. I don't think I think that's what it is.
Yeah, and what we need to be sensitive to, I think, is for what we're looking at from a fee perspective, I think it's. To me, at least in my personal opinion, it's lesser. The fee component is almost, not open important. As much as it is important, and that's gonna be taken the wrong way, or whatever the case may be, but to the degree that it is what it is. I think we need to be basing a decision on who's gonna best get us. Towards a successful effort for the town, and like, this is secondary, maybe by a wide margin. The pricing.
That's why I'm struggling, right? Colliers can hit the ground running,
Yep.
right? And to get us there in a short amount of time, it's them. Where Arcadius is gonna take at least let's just say a month to get where Colliers already is. And that's what I'm struggling with.
Yep.
Right?
We don't have a lot of extra months.
Well, that's where I'm getting at.
We have to get our application in,
Right, application,
we
right?
don't have to have a referendum. So,
Well, we don't know that yet.
budget.
That'd be a question I think that we would have to ask. I mean, but again, we can't ask that.
I think there is
I think Arcadia said there's a form that you can extend, or I thought it was one of those.
It's valid.
Huh?
June twenty
Yeah,
twenty-seven, push out if need be.
I think Colliers, I think, has
1 year.
better understanding, quite frankly, of. The approach to most effectively managing. That time frame and navigating that process to give us more time. That was one comment that Arcadis has said actually, initially. I think when we interviewed them, like, we recommend you look at the referendum in November, and I'm like. I don't think, we don't know if we can do that yet, and if you're like, that was the one comment that kind of. That gave me pause, because we, to the best of our knowledge, know that there's some legislation on the table about. Square foot costs and impact to us, and like, I wanted somebody who was gonna proactively fight to get us to that point and not, and yes, we may. And I think it was geared towards community input, trying to get better community engagement, have more time for that process. And I agree with that 110%. But not at the risk
The extra
of-
expense.
of maximizing our potential reimbursement eligibility. And that, I think, is what's tipping the scale for me a little bit towards Colliers, but
They say that if we got our grant application in before the deadline in June.
Yep.
It would still qualify for the space standards as per prior to this legislation.
I believe you, and again, we would have to work this through with whoever we select, but my understanding is you can. Potentially schedule a referendum after the June 30th deadline, as long as the grant application's in, as long as you have the referendum scheduled prior to that grant
Right.
application. So we would kind of. And that is something that we will need to jump right on with whoever we select here, to kind of start to work through that process and understand that in a level of detail with professional insight that we need.
But we could have the referendum in November scheduled with our application.
Potentially. Okay, I think we have to have.
The
a
legislation,
discussion with
yes,
idea, like, hey, I'm not, again, I think there's a step to this process that happens very quickly after we get an OPM on board to start working through that work plan and taking control of that effort efficiently for us.
We get those questions answered into all of our questions.
Yeah.
When you guys have said that you thought Arcadis, would be, better received from the community, what, did you hear specific things like what they were gonna do that set them apart?
Yes, and right from the get-go, Jack was stating that their team was gonna come to the meetings and be with us. And
Did you not get the sense that Colliers would do that too?
um, No.
Did that.
I think they've done that, like,
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
that's how they were gonna engage.
I was there too. I watched,
In
yeah.
terms of presentation versus, if we wanted them to present the, multiple options, they said, if you want us to do a presentation ourselves. If you want to support you in creating a presentation, you want us to be a resource there to answer any technical questions.
so just the how.
Yes, that's sort of, these are the multiple, how you want to best interact with the community, that's what my take was.
Yeah, and then when we asked that question, should there be one or three with Colliers, we asked one or three, and they're like, no, one, it's your job to pick the one. It's not, we should pick the best one and put it as number one, but I think the community deserves multiple choices.
We have to pull the community like a pre-referendum.
Yeah, I mean,
I think there's again, there's a workflow, I think, that, yes.
There is.
We need to develop the options, I don't know the mechanics, and that's where we gotta rely on the professionals we engage as to how they.
yeah, but Colliers already said that you should only have one,
And
and he was there and he said that.
Well, in the application, you can only,
Correct.
Correct.
so we have to
But
have.
a pre. Like,
The application.
right, something is.
Community like, we need this,
Yeah, that, something.
something, anyway, that's.
I mean, from my perspective, so I think Jack is gonna be a little bit more relatable in general, to less technical, it was once, yes, some of the team was a little nervous. He was not, particularly once he warmed up, but I just got I got a feel that he would be very relatable. I also, I did get a better sense in the way they portrayed themselves, that they would be more engaged in helping us provide outreach to the community. Whereas. And that's why I said I was hoping for a little bit more about how Colliers make things differently. I think the vibe I got a little bit from their team, the Colliers team, is that we would be managing. They're expecting us to manage, the outreach to the community. They'll assist us by attending these meetings, but the strategies and how we go about that is really. It felt like he deferred that to us as us and not assisting us in it. Whereas I think Arcadis, I got the feeling that they would, help us figure out how to package that for the community and get. It was a minor distinction, but.
You just hit it on the nail.
So. With that said, I am very concerned about time.
I think we all are.
I asked a question though, Jim, and it wasn't loaded,
No, I don't.
because I wanted to know if I missed something. I thought Jack's response was spot on, when he said that, or he said that about the, whether you want me to do it, whether you want to do it together, how we do it, how that approach. But I didn't hear anything that was groundbreaking that either group couldn't do. I think in my experience in watching it, I'd be curious to know, other projects. I'm really advocating now, not for a Colliers or an Arcadis, but more of a marketing firm. For some sort of additional firm to come on that has the role of selling this, whatever it is, and you're smiling at me because of it, but that to me, I think that's missing. I got the sense that if you see the whole in both of their presentations, I felt like they said the same thing, we'll help you with whatever you need. But neither one had these rock star ideas where we went, that right there is gonna help us get the message out to the town. I'm not so sure that even if Jack is relatable to our townspeople, we have 100 people that show up to our things.
Fair point.
I think if they're gonna spend some money, you could spend some money on a marketing piece that And it's not a reason to do away with either one. I'm just saying that's something that I thought came out of that. That was just interesting to me.
So
I wanted to hear it. So,
I chuckled because I was gonna talk about it during communications,
Oh.
because Lisa had reached out separately as well, wondering whether we should have somebody like more PR and marketing as assistants, and I actually said I was wondering if we were gonna get somebody like that background on the committee to kind of help us with that, but, I think it's valuable.
I think regardless of who we should install.
agree.
Something. Our marketing was weak before.
It was just us generating ideas, and I go back to Jim, I don't remember how you said this. You said it like day one of the first committee. How the heck can you say it? It was really around like, building the story and. And
Community engagement.
community
early
engagement,
on.
and we, again, like, we're doing, and no offense to what we just did, but we just did the same thing we did the first time. We sent a postcard, we've done that, we put the stuff online, we need to find a way to make sure that. A PR firm can guarantee stuff is getting in the hands, we sent a postcard and half the committee members didn't receive it. So it's like, that's why I'm not sure if it's tied to this because it's something that you're weighing into your decision. But I also think we need to think about, is there some other way to address that same issue?
And then the OPMs could focus on the project and the application and
Yeah, I think,
feed us the data to have the PR person sell to the community.
yeah, I think that the OPM would need to work very closely with.
Yeah.
We might have
And be present at, at the meetings as well.
Yes, yeah,
And perhaps by the marketing firm on, how to respond
and it still might be the voice, right?
Yes.
That-
yes, exactly.
And we have to choose one.
So. My thought is we. Go around the room and pick one. And each, say who we think. And see if we have consensus, we can do it informally if you'd like, but ultimately, I think I want to get a sense of who the majority of us. Want to go with, and then we'll make a recommendation, a formal, motion to recommend, to the selectmen to engage in contract negotiation. But I'm asking you guys, do you think we're ready to do that? Is there anybody else? Do we have anything we want to say?
How much,
I'm honestly, I'm
honestly,
where this is gonna
I'm
go.
still, it's like, it's hard. I get we gotta move on and I gotta
so,
make a decision.
as
but
Mr.
it's
Stevenson,
not-
maybe we should
not-
look at, maybe we should
not
review
easy.
some of their other projects that they're currently doing right now. I believe that's what you mentioned.
no, I think either one could do the role that you're asking them to do. But I think both of them could use the support of a marketing firm
Yeah.
to help promote a project. Their role is to give you the expertise and the connection to, the grant application, to get the grant application in, to maximize your reimbursement, to pull together information for the community. That's their major role is not doing those big presentations. I think that they could use some guidance around those things. I think that major presentation could come from you folks and would be more meaningful than a professional, if you have the information, you're all on the same page. I think the biggest thing for you is your time crunch is real.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if you can have a referendum in November. I think it has been discussed. I've heard it from multiple professionals. QA&M did say that you could do that. I'm not so sure how well that would go over in this town. The committee puts in a grant application before you have a referendum. I think that might turn some people off.
Yeah, well, I think if we didn't do a poll on the options out there, I think we should ourselves to put.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, to your point, the how long does it take Arcadis to get on board? that just might be the decision maker for you because
Well, that's.
you don't have any time.
That honestly, that's 70% of what I'm battling, right? I mean. Like Phil said, they both can do their job, right? They're both very qualified. And that's my battle that I'm battling right now, is the time crunch we're under. And Colliers has that information already, where Arcadius can't, you know, that's where my balance is, and that's what I don't know what to do, right?
Don't we have that?
And that's, and,
Yeah, it will take time to get up to speed.
I mean,
right,
I know it will, but we have that information we should give to them.
right,
Right?
but also it's.
One knows it already, like, generally.
Ish,
Ish, right,
ish, I mean, you know, it was a little while ago.
really wasn't that long ago.
And the
I
other
mean,
point,
you know,
they, Collier also went through the whole land acquisition thing with the land that we had at the time. I don't know how different what's out there, but they went through that process too, which I think is one of the processes that, could really hold us up the most. So.
From my perspective, yeah, and that's why I said, and I'll say it again, I'm still, I think, leaning for Colliers personally, because I think it's our job. I think it's beholden to us as the voices of this town to develop this project. To do what we need to do to maximize the potential for maximum reimbursement and a successful, a successful process for grant application. To get that maximum reimbursement. And I just think that we're already at start of March. Like, I think if there's, you can agree, like, I was hesitant that we had to reschedule this week because of the storm on Monday to make this decision. Because I am hoping that they will, on a recommendation for board, whoever we select, will be willing to come to our next meeting on Monday, a week from today. To discuss architect qualification for those, okay, this guidance, if they're willing to in advance contract, like that's where we're at. And I just don't think if there's any delay in onboarding and getting up to speed,
And I think
I think it's excess.
with either one that we choose, if the selectmen can do a letter of intent. And that way they can come and do that.
And I'll be reaching out to them tomorrow and asking, like, literally, selectmen aside, selectmen will be making that recommendation. The selectmen has to enter into the agreement. We just we'll make recommendation that we recommend board to whoever it is. And then to enter into contract negotiations with the selectmen's office. Because we can't execute an agreement, something like that.
So if you can spend the money, but you can't execute the agreement.
I would say. So, yeah, they have the authority to, but with that said, yeah, so we'll be making a recommendation, but I'm gonna be saying, well, you guys are gonna work. But, we have.
Well, I think that's where a letter of intent will come in handy.
Yeah, absolutely. And, either way, I think we will do what we can to maximize to get that going quickly. I just think if there's any lag at all, I say this, having really trying to drive, this momentum for us. I think it needs to keep going, and I think I could personally think colleges probably does that, but.
And I remember, Arcadia saying how they wanted to postpone it and slow it down a little. Talking about options to do that.
Oh.
I think
No.
that was
They're all set.
I think they both said.
They're both-
They both said.
Did they?
They both said.
They both wanted to push it back. One of them had like a detailed alternate timeline.
That was ours, yeah.
Colliers said it.
Too.
Yeah.
They have, yeah,
They're both aware of how aggressive the schedule is, and I think both are angling to find more time for community support generation.
I just
Prior
don't
to
want
having to
to
make that call.
get into an agreement and then have them try to slow us down, and whoever it is,
we're the ones that should be driving the schedule, not them.
Yeah.
Let's
Tell them all.
Yeah,
How-
they don't forget, they work for us.
Yeah.
We don't work for them.
Yeah.
Let's just make that clear.
I think the engineering people really,
That's who's up.
they're gonna be really stretching to get the information we need. they're the ones that are gonna be really hurting,
Yeah,
I think.
And I bet
And the
you,
OPM, yeah, you know,
So,
don't
I
think it's-
see a lot, I mean, I live in that world, so with the right team, a lot can happen really fast, it really depends on.
yeah,
how
yeah,
fast
you gotta
it
have the
really is
resources.
gonna be how effective we can work as
Yeah.
well.
let's
Sure.
concentrate on this one before we go to that.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Please.
that's where I'm seeing, the OPM is like, hey, but I see the workload the others have to do to come up with the estimates and stuff like that, I think that.
Which I
That's a
get.
big bite,
It is, yes, which I get.
to get decent numbers. So,
2-3 weeks. To know.
All right, if you want to feel for who you want to go with, I'll make the first recommendation, I think. I think I'll go, it's just a matter of the time crunch. And I think at this point, I'll stick with Colliers, just on the time crunch that we have. I think they'll be better under the time crunch that we face.
Yeah, that's where I personally, that's where I'm gonna do.
I debated this for like weeks. It's not easy for me to, because I really did like a case, but
I do as well, very well.
if you wanted somebody to start it, I'll start it.
well,
I was gonna go with Arcadis because I think college was evasive on the questions for refunds and we have to pay money back later, that's gonna really sting.
But and I'm just gonna say, that bit is based on our next OPM, not on this OPM.
If they get the application wrong, we have to pay it back.
No, that.
No, I don't think it costs anything for the application, does it?
No, but if you screw up with your numbers and stuff like that.
That's part of the project development, that's not,
Cause it
the
doesn't.
responsibility of this
start until-
OPM.
The project doesn't start until you get an approved project.
yeah, the responsibility of this is for
Grant
the
application.
OPM to develop a
Yes.
responsible budget for a project.
So that's what,
And through the grant application.
Right, if you mess up your grant application,
If they mess up the budgeting, but that has nothing to do with any audit process, because
We don't-
nothing that we do now is eligible for, as part of the project. It's
And
not,
audits at the way out,
right,
once the project's complete.
so I think that they're stronger to bring us to. Right.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's where I am. I think Colliers is experienced.
over to you, Ann.
I'm supporting Colliers because of the commitment I saw last time, and the work ethic, and everything was on time, if we were gonna discuss something, we had everything we needed, and so, I'm gonna go for Colliers.
I vote for Arcadis.
All right, I'm just checking to see, I didn't hear anything from Sam. And they're not at the table, but. I'll just read Adams.
yeah, Adam was.
Colliers and Lisa, was also with Arcadis. I voted, so Adam, I voted Colliers, due to the most experienced team in my professional opinion. Actually, that's really all he said, but that he also feels Arcadis, with that said, if the committee members feel Arcadis is best, then so be it, we may just need to manage them a bit more. And then the rest is about getting in county email address. So.
Well, right now, you're high.
Then,
No, it's not.
That's straightforward.
It's all in the room.
Three to get,
Oh,
three
yeah.
to two in the room, but,
Right.
I'll make a motion that we, hire Colliers as our, for our school building project.
I'll second that for discussion. More discussion.
How much do we have to spend?
So the only thing I'll say. I think it's important. I think what I will say is I think we've pretty much said we think both firms are confident will be able to support us. One, you know, with advantages, disadvantages from both, so I think we're in good hands with either or. Regardless of what this decision is, I think it's important for us to, you know, come together and support whatever the ultimate decision is. Because this is all about building a team, for us and for the town, and, whoever it is. They got a full support, they got my support, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I will support either one. However, I mean, you know, I was lean, so
You get a vote. Yep,
it is what it is.
yeah. All right. Making sure Sam's not on and we don't have anybody else, so let's do a roll call then. So this is, yeah. You have the ability to repeat that, just let me know what we're voting for again.
Scroll. Move that down.
Usually see you from the side, watching you work.
We have a motion to hire Colliers as the OPM for the school building project. That was made by Ann and seconded by Jim.
Actually, can I make a friendly amendment to that, Ann? We're not making any motions to hire, I think we're making a motion to recommend to the selectmen. To enter into agree to recommend the board, to the board of selectmen. To go with Colliers project leaders. Phil, what's the process on that? Friendly amendment?
You're the friendly amendment second, so you're the one that made it, so unless you're good. You're accepting the amendment, yes, and you said it, so.
Right.
You seconded it.
There you go. All right.
Oh.
So we don't have to vote on the amendment? Okay, thank you. That's all I was trying. I want to make sure we do that right. All right. Yeah, let's go around the room.
Okay, Mr. Zelonis.
Sure.
Yes, that's a yes.
Ms. Rushing
Yes.
and Mr. Brothers
Yes.
and Mr. Bacon
Nay.
and Mr. Marshall.
Yes.
And we have
That's all.
4-1.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for what was a very difficult decision, and I will say, thank you again to all 4 of the firms that submitted, proposals to us. It truly was a difficult decision. We're fortunate to have as much, a deep bench of qualified candidates as we did for this. Challenging.
Are you planning on reaching out to, I wouldn't release our case until you have a signed contract.
Sure.
So you're gonna reach out to Colliers, you're gonna reach out to select.
I am already, so word of this, I will reach out to Mike's office. Mike is traveling, but I will send email following this meeting, if not first thing in the morning. Basically saying committing them to make recommendation that we enter into agreement with Colliers project leaders for OPM services to the town through grant referendum. And then I will reach out to Colliers and ask them, make them aware that that the committee made a recommendation for the board. If only to make them aware of the process and hopefully to shotgun that start. And see if they would be willing to engage with us and all those negotiations are entertained. Because it is gonna be a couple of weeks before we're officially under contract, that's just the way that.
So that's why I was asking if it would be advantageous to get a letter of intent to
Yeah, I will,
say that we're intending to.
I think this will serve the meeting, they'll serve as a surprise. They just take on. Yeah, I think they will, I think. I will ask Mike to make it as formal as we need to be, as quickly as we can, but in the meantime, I'm gonna let the Colliers team know that the committee is working in this direction and, any efforts they can make to appease our very aggressive schedule, would be wonderfully advantageous and welcome. That sound all right to everybody? All right. Oh, all right. We don't have much action on this next one, but we'll discuss it at any rate. Moving on to 5B, which is the RFQ for architectural and engineering services. So we had a schedule defined in the RFQ, revolving around when questions were due and when our responses were due. That happened to coincide the day after our last canceled meeting. So through consensus of the committee, via email, we did receive questions from several firms in response to our request for qualifications and proposals. When was that? A week prior to last. They were fairly straightforward, nothing too onerous, and with kind of consensus, I had drafted up and we issued a response via addendum last Tuesday. It was posted. You have a copy of those questions and their responses. They are fairly straightforward. What I will say is the proposals are due to the selections office by 2 p.m. tomorrow for this. I got notice that we have one already in hand, so that's a plus. But again, they have till 2 p.m. tomorrow. Mike, with Mike McCoo traveling, he is back tomorrow afternoon. I told him to coordinate a day on Wednesday where we go in and we do what we did. So normally we publicly open, a witness open at the qualification packages. And I will take the digital copies and get them out to you Wednesday, by end of day Wednesday. So that we can, yeah, along with the score sheet, similar process to what we did for the OPMs. I'll send along the qualification packages that we received via email, and we'll send a qualification scoring metric, and we will want to review those the best we can, and score them prior to our meeting on Monday night, where we can discuss in more detail this as a whole committee, and with the goal being to select certain respondents for interviews like we did for OPM.
You want to select a time to have them back to,
If you can get them, Adam's not here, so get them to me by Sunday, end of day Sunday. I'll get them to you on Wednesday.
Which Sunday?
This coming Sunday. I know.
You're gonna send the evaluation tool like you did last
I
time.
will this week. I don't know how many we're gonna get. If that looks like it's gonna be overly onerous, then we can reassess, but let's work with that commitment for now and do the best we can with it.
How many firms did you get questions from?
3.
Just
3, but I also got questions about not questions about the contents, but questions confirming the date of the solicitation, like.
from the fourth.
Somebody else was paying attention.
Yes, people were paying attention, is what I'm saying, so there weren't any formal questions submitted as beyond those. Actually, there's only 2 that requested formal submission, but there were others that are engaged in our effort and following along the RFP process, let's put it that way.
so Monday will we decide who to interview them? Is that?
Monday, we discuss and hopefully come to a consensus. We should have our rankings. I'll compile them on Monday prior to the meeting for you, and we can kind of go from there and have a discussion on qualifications. And hopefully come to a decision on which firms we want to hear more from.
They sent to you.
Yeah, send them to me. I'll compile them into a scoring summary that I think will be. I may do it a little differently, but than we did on the OPMs, like I think I'll have everybody's tally side by side in total points, but does that work for everybody? All right,
So it's the 9th, correct?
yeah,
Motion.
thank you. Yes, next week is March 9th.
You're saying meeting,
The meeting is on the ninth, yes.
Yes, but we will send them to you.
If you send them to me by end of day Sunday, they will be included in any summary tally. And I will, make a note right now to reach out to our members that are absent tonight, I'll do the same. We're all, hey, this is
You can boil it
the
in
other big
at
one.
the same time.
You can.
Along with 3 bids.
Each piece of that sugar, keep going.
That's right.
Like some candy.
I mean, if best case scenario, if Mike, I don't know what time Mike is back on Tuesday, if it works out, tomorrow, that's tomorrow's Tuesday. I don't know what time Mike's back tomorrow, but if I can coordinate a time to do that, we have a day tomorrow, I will do that, get it out to you tomorrow night. Give everybody an extra day, I just don't know if that's gonna be viable.
That's fine.
That's
I'll work through it.
well, all we can ask, I think we do the best we can with it.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for being so willing to accommodate what we know is an aggressive schedule. So that we can do the most we can for the town here. All right. Those are the big items for tonight. Let's keep going. Item 5C, communications. So mailer number 2, discussion and consideration. So. Uh-oh, sorry, it's really enrollment study got printed as part of this.
Huge.
Sorry, Lisa, that's on me. I should have told you. I should have detached that from the. Addendum. There we go. All right. The enrollment study was part of the question responses. The enrollment projections were part of the responses, the addendum, the right.
That was part of the addendum.
Yep. So you've seen that, none of this changed. And do have a letter here, following that, just as a point of note, I meant to talk about just under communications, under C, before we get into the mailer, Scott Colliers had reached out on his own for, from work he's doing with other districts to the AS about the square foot construction reimbursement rate before imposed to fill. So I'm sharing with you and unsolicited, but yeah, just so that you have it. Basically, they don't want to answer it unless it's a question back by the superintendent. So
The superintendent has asked the question.
yes, I'm sure. Good. So. Okay. Also on communications, you'll see a letter that we received from somebody that knew today, for Arnold. I responded, basically referring into our minutes. That answered many of the questions before we addressed some questions already. So we got that. All right. Here is the discussion, and then you have an email from Lisa, who has been kind of heading up the mailers and the Willington Wire discussion. Lisa is back tomorrow as well. She drafted up and had sent along this copy, basically a version, a one-page version. We didn't have that one version. Now that was put out, asking whether that should go to Willington Wire. And I think that's fine as a starting point, but I'm wondering whether we have the opportunity. We do have the opportunity, I think, for Willington Wire doing something a little bit more long form, more narrative, you know, if we want to. Do we want to do something other than here's all our information, go find it, or do we want to, you know, do we want to come up with a letter or something that describes the process? I guess that's what I ask at minimum. This is a Willington Wire submission.
I kind of agree with you, Jim. I think this is our one opportunity to paint the whole picture of the whole process. So people know what's going to be happening over the next few months. Kind of leading up to the referendum and then the submission of the grant after that. For people who like details, people who want to know more about what's going on.
Yeah, I think your note too about, we need to expand on the reimbursement detail, and, saving money in future taxes.
An opportunity like being engaged, this is how we get to a project that's more economical than nothing perhaps. We need your help getting there. Like, I think there's this is our process, this is the thing we're looking at. I just, do you remember the date on, when Willington Wire submissions are due?
That was the end of March.
Yeah.
I think it was the end of March.
The end of March? I thought it was March, so fire report. I'm gonna check that now. I should have checked that before tonight. If we have time on it, then we have time on it, but.
I thought it was like the third week in March. I remember.
I spell fire right.
There's no problem with that.
I thought it was
Yeah, we're on that.
It's to March, submission deadline Sunday, March 1st.
That's what I read.
He will accept this.
Yeah, so that's fine. Okay,
And I don't mean to shoot the Willington Wire down, but because it's not printed. And it only gets emailed to the people that we have email addresses for.
yeah,
It's a tool for us, but I don't just spend a ton of time on it right now.
okay. I think agree with that. I think we need to have something in it, and if we're that short on time,
I can also throw this in the digital backpack if you want. I
yeah,
can also throw this on the town website.
Yes,
Yeah.
So
Yes.
if it's good, we can, make copies of this and put this in the library.
Yep.
Things like that, we can just paste this wherever we can.
yeah, that's basically her description. You got, or she had sent this. Yeah, fly the, now that the town, including hyperlinks or printed for events, right, so that's kind of Lisa's thought process on this.
And maybe in one of our next cards, we could have a little bit of process, a little bit of what we've done so far. Hired an OPM and,
Yeah, so
You could
that's,
consider a mailing it's gonna cost more money, but that is more.
has more information. on it.
yeah, I mean, we're looking at doing
Or whatever.
regular
Yeah,
mailers
yeah.
to keep the process going and keep people engaged, so. In the absence of, I think we can get some expertise, we'll rely on our OPM to. Maybe even recommend a PR, a company that can assist us with public outreach. Okay, so what I'll do. Got to intermix these two, and I apologize for that, so mailer number 2 discussion, we can. What I'd like to do is come to the table next week. On Monday's discussion with thoughts on what we want to have, or actually what we can do, and Lisa's going to work it out. If we have any thoughts, I'm sure Lisa can start. Pushing on it over the next week. Do we have does anybody have anything? They think would be advantageous for our next foray in communication, understanding it's gonna be probably 3 weeks before we get out there. Before it actually gets mailed to the counties if we act next week on it.
Setting up rationales, if we talk about money savings other than operational costs and repairs, things like that. So with that, data be,
Yeah, but we don't have the data right now.
Yeah.
We don't schedule.
But we can also talk about what we're considering, things we're considering. In terms of like, we're considering these things, looking at, balancing the cost of. Maintenance, operations, future capital costs, things like that.
So, yeah, I think there's some balancing. Trying to find operational savings and growing education
going forward.
budgets through consolidation as an opportunity. Like things that, what drove us to the table where we're at this again, more than just, hey, we're here, you got a new reimbursement rate. That's why that's why the conversation is different, but it's. I don't think it gets home quite why we're here again.
This is the biggest budget impact of the town.
We're here because of the cost burden that is, could be crippling to this town by doing it if we don't find a path forward somewhere. And it looks like with this rate, consolidation is likely the most effective way to get there. while also potentially doing operational savings through consolidation in schools.
Yeah, that's where you need market.
Which is what started the
Yeah.
whole process 8 years ago or 10 years ago, was, we're declining enrollment, we need operational savings. We look at consolidation, that still holds true.
At the end of the last vote, many, residents wanted us to do repairs. You know, it was like, well, let's just keep repairing them, it'll be fine. Can we use the Q&M data that we got about repairing buildings?
Yeah.
To present
We have a lot of data,
Yeah.
it's expensive.
what it would cost to repair and that only gets you to that day. Things then start breaking the next day if we're repairing the old schools, you know?
Right, and that is capital, forecasting expenditures.
Yeah.
That data.
So,
We need a marketing firm to really
yeah,
package this in a way that they can understand.
all right,
Do you think it would make sense if you did what you've just described as, giving some information about the why we're back here? But also, I think it's really beneficial. What questions, do you have? What questions would you want answered by the school building committee that would help you make a decision? Is it just price? Like, what are the things that people want to know? Because then we can answer those.
yeah.
We're giving people information to make a decision.
And they could present it at the beginning of a meeting or email a question.
There's gonna be a lot of why we here again.
Yeah.
I got it already. I'm gonna be honest with you.
No, it's
It's there. I
Yeah.
think I had, they're like,
Didn't we-
what's this mailer about? Why are we doing this again? So,
Well, and that's why, that's the questions I've seen both online and, that's, some of the one of the emails that get today. I think you should understand the budgetary, the budgetary implications of consolidating, what the carrying cost, all things like that, these are. I think that's a great start, right? I think we do. Here are some of the factors that we think are, could be advantageous, is why we're talking about this again. Budgetary savings through consolidation, cost avoidance through, forecasted, we can pull some data from QA&M, like this is. Prior study show,
This is what.
this is what we got, a more,
Yeah, and Lamont's opened his pocketbook so we can get some more money,
yes, so.
And that isn't reimbursed. All those repairs are just money that comes out of the town pocket.
can be,
So, yeah, but,
some can be, but it's, the rates are,
and that's where the renovation is, so it's a very complicated discussion, I think it's more, these are the reasons why we will develop those details over the next 3 months. Because we have to, with our professional teams.
Do we want to put the 3 options out there at this early stage?
I'm not adverse to that, saying, because a lot of the is. What options are you exploring? We're trying to explore as much as we can for you. We got questions for that at the town meeting for our funding. I'm like, at this point, we are trying to evaluate as much as we can in the time that we have, and that is a new school. On a new site, there's a new school on Hall site, there's renovation in addition to Hall. And comparing that to the costs of doing nothing.
I'll just answer your question.
Yeah.
Why are we here? What are the options?
yeah, I mean, that's a good, tell a story, you need to explain, because otherwise they're like, well, because some things have changed. I mean, before the hall option was.
Unknown.
It was an unknown,
Yeah,
which is a no now.
it's a no now, and it's a lot more, we have the whole deed agreement.
That could be in there.
That's a big deal.
I'm writing it right
That,
now.
I was gonna say, that should be in that. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a big deal.
and by then the deal will be signed and.
I think it is.
They signed it already.
No, well, that's what they did, we haven't formally executed on our side, but.
So we, yeah, we're not gonna shoot ourselves, but
No, it sounds like
Right.
it's done. at this point. All right. So this is what I'll do for the mailer. I will, circle up with Lisa and just kind of relay this, because she's not here tonight, and say, this is what we're thinking. Similar to what we did, same postcard, just get more information out there. This is what we've heard from you since the first mail or since our, and we want to know what questions you have and what additional questions you want answered, and we'll work to
I
address.
think you gotta leave the QR codes and all the.
Yeah. We'll have one side, I think it's,
This side could stay the same.
Yep.
Yeah. Do we know why some people did not receive them? I know of one
That's-
household where there's two older.
they're grabbing it from this pile and shoving it in with everybody's, I think it's just, they
They
go.
just grab a couple and they stick together and it goes, they run out, like doubles, you get doubles.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
We can
I got
do
one
it.
at my house, and
Yeah.
I got one in my PO box. I mean, I got one in each.
That's good.
I got one in each spot, so I'm just,
I got nothing.
Some people.
that's just, like I said, I got, I was 100%.
But it got out there. I mean, we had so I was pleasantly surprised by the number of people that were at that town meeting for our funding. It was great to have that many people out there. The fact that it's that early and there were whatever 70 was. And as much as I'd like to say they were there for Wise as well, they were for that, for the, I think a lot of it was for the school building because of this mailer, and I think
it came out at the right time.
it needs to get, and I think it needs to stay, because we need people engaged along the way, instead of just waiting till there's dollars attached, and then I go, I didn't know anything about this. The more we can do this, the better off we are, even if it's just, here's where we're at, because you're not reading, if you're not reading the minutes, this is what we're talking about, and it's in your face, and it's in your hands,
And I like
and
that
it's
was
bright yellow.
with this color. So people know to look for it,
Yeah.
that it looks like this. I think that's a great idea. So,
I will circle up with Lisa, and see if we can come up with something for discussion, at our next meeting, we kind of take it from there, and it'll be on the agenda for the meeting on the night.
Okay.
Perfect, in Willington Wire, I will get this out there. And beg any forgiveness if needed, but I don't think we will, I'm hoping we will. Is that Parks and Rec, and I doubt they've done anything formalized in 24 hours, so.
He was plugging along at it as he gets it, but this is a full page.
Okay.
And do you want me to get this out elsewhere?
Yeah,
I'm gonna make
I mean,
copies.
I think putting it out in a digital backpack would not hurt.
no,
I
I
can
think
get
that's a
it there, I
great
can
idea.
make copies and throw some in the public library. And I can get on, I can throw some out here.
senior center.
Where?
Put
Yeah,
a stack at the
I-
senior
okay.
center.
I'm, if you guys are amenable to that, I think the more we can get that out there, the better off it is.
Post office. Post office as
Put
well,
one at the
all of them,
board,
yeah.
What'd
Library.
you say?
the bulletin board.
Yep.
Yeah. Whatever gets eyes on,
And
and drive makes the meeting.
Go for a ride.
Perfect. Thank you, Phil. Okay, all right, other community outreach considerations. So we talked about that a little bit, moving on to 5C3. Two things I wanted to kind of bring up on this. One was the PR marketing discussion. Quite frankly, that's new to me. I don't even know how we go about that. I might rely on our OPM to make recommendations if they work with companies. I think that'll be our first step, but I want to understand what that process is. I think my recommendation initially would be, let's see if they have recommendations, on how they perhaps approached it in the past. And I can get some feelers out, but
I can reach out to, South Windsor did multiple major projects.
that's a good point. You probably have.
And I can reach out to them just to see if they used anybody or if they just used an OPM.
Yeah, if you could reach out to your superintendent, James. for-
Yeah, I'll see if
That would
anybody's
be-
a marketing firm.
Yeah, we need help. Clearly.
I don't think so.
Who else was built something new?
I'll just send.
I even did that, whatever,
So, an addition or something, yeah.
well, they did two with it.
Who's that? Windermere, yeah.
Windermere.
Yes.
I was thinking Birch Grove, but I knew
Yeah.
that. But Windermere did 2 additions, I think, got nervous in the last 5 years.
And he's on my chain, so I'll just send an email to say anybody doing the building has done a building project with utilized the marketing firm.
Or
Love to
has,
talk to you.
or recommendations on how, just.
Yeah, if they, then I can reach out to them and get some more information.
That would be helpful.
Yep.
Would this be sort of like a part-time gig?
It would be another consulting, you would probably have to, let me
You
see, it depends on what, I think there might be ways, depends on what we're soliciting, you know, like what we're.
Someone that works for you under the market, but that's a full-time job. Would this be something?
No, it wouldn't be, this would be a firm that we, you know, would onboard some of what we do for others to assist us with public outreach and community outreach. Our AE team will be able to assist a little bit with that as part of the project development process, but it's not. There's that piece, right, that isn't. They can talk about the design and, you know, there can be, and our RPN can talk about the professional insight on the process, but there's the. How do we get the word out to the community? How do we stress the importance of why we're here and what we're doing? And how do we make sure it's,
And how fast that,
yeah,
we're trying to do it. It's not like we're trying to rush them. It's just, we're trying to hit a deadline. We
Trying to save you
we
money.
trying to save you money with
Trying
a
to save
deadline
you
coming
money.
up.
we're trying to work for you, right? And that's why we're here.
We're trying to, you know,
Because-
best for the townspeople.
Because again, that same couple people I was with was like, well, how come it's moving so fast, right? So you gotta explain that. What happens if we don't hit that or?
If we get an answer from the Office of Grants and Review, and they say, yes, we are in fact going to be using that new number for square footage. That is gonna be our marketing, yeah, because it is going to be millions of dollars in difference.
Right. That's, we gotta get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, like I would be here engaged in this committee if I wasn't positive and my own personal, if I didn't have a high degree of confidence that this was the path towards a more cost effective option for this town. That's just my personal belief and I'm here fighting for it because I know through experience, that's where I think we're gonna fall. So we just gotta get that.
Line up those dominoes.
Yeah, we just gotta get the work, and that, all right, so. And then the second item that I wanted to talk to you guys about is, no, social media and other outreach, like. It was managed very poorly last time. I don't think there was an effective. And there are already questions and comments out there in the social media world, right? I don't want to be answering them for myself. Is there a way, like,
Hiring marketing people.
yeah,
Hiring marketing people.
like, I want people to feel like they're being heard, right? And for a lot of people in town, they use that as an outlet to express their opinion and to vent. And I think there needs to be some way for this committee to at least be able to engage in a more formal capacity, not even engaged. Like, I'm not saying we're not having a debate on social media, but like
Personal,
like, look at, here's what the committee discussed, this, please look at our meeting minutes, you know, in reference to a question, you know, like that sort of thing, I think.
Not gonna rub people or anything.
That's why I want to have this conversation. I
That's
don't like,
Like if they want a response, they want a personal response.
yes,
That's what they want. And I think if. we
yeah,
try
I
to
just
say
don't want to
the
do that. I don't want to do that as Jim Marshall, is what I'm trying to say.
Right,
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
it-
Oh, it's the SBC, whatever, but I think we need a marketing, you know, because, you know,
now, if we were a town that had a lot more revenue. You know, places like the library, or we have some schools in certain towns have the entranceway when you go into the driveway says the name of the school, it's all electronic board. And there's ways we could, if we had revenue, we could get messages out throughout town, but unfortunately. Probably with time and revenue, we don't have that capability of. Getting community outreach. Like some communities may have, like South Windsor, so. You know what I'm talking,
Yeah.
I wish we had those electronic things.
Leo Smith has one.
Oh,
Yes.
Exactly.
I don't see how you do it without trying to manage it 24 hours a day.
well, that's what I'm like, that's
I think
what I'm wondering, and
you take these flyers, you throw them as JPEGs, you post them and no comments.
Yeah.
And then, but what it has to have is
Answer.
the directions of where do you post questions to? And when you post a question, where can you see the answers when they're answered?
Yeah, I think if we gather this question on social media, the rest of the flyers, we'll post it back in the flyers.
Or suggest that they come to the beginning of the meeting and ask a question at that time.
They're not.
we've been trying.
Yeah.
Look at the TV, you got 6 people, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 3 people, 4 people.
But, you know,
Four of them go to every meeting in town.
Right, exactly.
And
so.
the second
but-
thing we could do is suggest that they send an email. That way we'll get personal answers.
That's what you're pushing for, is trying to get, here's the avenue to ask questions, and here's the avenue that you will get an answer. Because you just will get back and forth,
It's already there.
yeah.
Instead of having comments, go comments or questions,
Here,
here's the email address,
Yeah,
and not do. James Marshall on Facebook and answer everybody's questions.
The other thing for things that come up
Or me,
often,
or
we could have
Anyway,
frequently asked questions. You know, if there's questions that keep coming up, if we had a section on our website. That
Yeah.
would be part of it.
yeah, like basically, if we have quite a lot of questions in social media, we could answer there. You know, or something.
I mean, you could take notes on the question on social media, and then say, hey, thanks for the question.
just create another one of these.
And-
I think,
Yeah.
well, like I said, I think we need a methodology for getting those answers out there to people,
Yeah.
so that it's not just running,
If you
it's not
see
running
them-
rampant without like an actual informed response from the people that have been appointed to do this work.
I think
I think
marketing
there needs-
is gonna be the place to.
I agree, but in the interim, because it's gonna be a little while, I think, if there's a strategy, let's get that out there.
Mhm.
As opposed on behalf of. I guess I'll do it as chair of the SBC, I'll post it. For like, I don't have another avenue of doing it on a
Well,
personal account.
we can put this on Willington Friends and Neighbors or any of those.
Yeah,
And just. They can ask them just if you could do this without comments, we're just looking to get information out, like.
that's true.
You can post it without without comments.
That's what,
On theirs, can you?
I don't know on theirs, but I know on certain ones you can.
I can do that too, I might just get the information.
You just turn off the comments and you're done.
I do that on my own personal one. Sometimes I'll just put things out there that are informational, but I'm not gonna go back and forth on comments or stuff like that.
Those round enough.
Then you're gonna get, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
A new post. and-
It doesn't matter what you do, all you can say is, hey, we're putting information. I think the idea of putting answers back into a form like this. And pushing these out on a regular basis, so it's not last time we had, the FAQ got to be, it was 85 questions, right?
yeah,
And like, where's my question? If it's just on an ongoing basis and you're posting some things. It just goes back up and the answer's there, information's there once we have it.
And we can have a master list of FAQs too, if people want to take care of it, sure.
Right.
Alright,
Yeah,
well, that's the first step then, we're getting that out there, so I'll take the initiative and get that out.
Yeah.
Cause we have it digitally already as an initial discussion point, or its initial. Potential list, we'll see where it goes. And
I think the easiest way is and beyond that, Jim, is if you're hearing questions.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm already hearing this question.
Yeah.
We should start to document those. So we have, hey, I heard that question too. We gotta make sure we answer that. I think the more we can do that. the better.
Running list of questions.
So if somebody emails. Jim, is that you? Is that?
SBC email.
I mean, it can just be, it doesn't, you don't have to answer them, it just needs to be someone gathering the questions and sharing, here are the questions that have been asked. Sharing them with the committee.
Yeah, exactly, and that's fine, I mean, they're coming to me, that email
Okay.
actually came to my LinkedIn email, not the SBC email that I
Okay,
sent to you, so. What we have, we aren't getting anything from in the Gmail account for the SBC at WillingtonCP.gov. They just aren't,
they're not coming in or no one's asking email.
nobody's asking.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not being used right now.
If there were
So-
important questions that needed to be answered, could we do them during a half hour at the beginning of the meeting? Maybe.
You can, but no one, listen, and I love that you're thinking that, and I'm not trying to be a negative
Well, that
Nelly.
was the hope, I mean, that's.
We have, some of the most important meetings that have been held in this town have been watched by 40 people on YouTube.
I just checked it, you have 9.
I don't, Pete, I know you're laughing, but like,
It's true.
that,
It's 12 views
it's
that are
not
being
those are
February 9th.
Okay.
we need to have avenues that are gonna get to
22.
people or who are.
This gets to the people better than I mean.
I think it's more people than what would watch our videos
Yeah.
or.
Who's gonna watch this video?
Six
I'm not gonna wanna watch
views
this
for
video.
126.
You know?
Yeah, so, Phil, simply because I just popped on YouTube to check views, nothing, the only meeting that hasn't been posted is the 19th.
Yeah, I think I posted the other one, so I'll post it.
Do you have the ability to do
Yeah.
that? Cause it looks
Yeah.
like when Shannon.
No, I did.
No, there you go. Well, thank you. Um,
So when we engage the OPM with the letter of intent, we also discuss a marching firm application. Get that moving as soon as possible.
yeah, I can ask it as a question and we can discuss it, I can get it here.
And we hope that meeting without just having,
But I'll flag it on,
without having that contract doing yet.
yeah, I already have it.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
you
so
said
we can
tonight-
talk with them, and marketing.
I thought you said the 19th.
We have a meeting.
Oh, that's the
tonight.
full executive session.
No, whatever the next one was, sorry.
All right.
20.
I thought you said the 19th, so that's why I went back, that's why I just.
No, apologies, yeah, whatever the most recent
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
although,
No, you're fine.
okay. Okay, so lots of community outreach, but it's good we're talking about it. And I will follow up with the points we discussed as we can, Yeah, all right. Moving on. Okay, move on?
Yes.
Good. Administrative, look at schedule potential special meeting coordination. So, you had that previously, I resubmitted to your packet. We have a meeting, our regular meeting is on Monday. Of next week. We are. The AE services, architectural engineering services notice for interviews, it's kind of due next Tuesday, the 10th. We had tentatively slated interviews for Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Following. So Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday next week, I believe, is tentatively our interview dates.
We can't do one, so.
Well, we can, similar, like I can ask people to hold that. If Thursday works, Thursday afternoon, like it did for the OPMs,
Thursday, talking to 12th and 13th
I'm trying to find that day right now, give me a second.
is.
Yes, that goes to Tuesday.
My final, there it is.
So, yeah, the 13th is probably.
Sorry, I should have had these dates written down, but I didn't think to grab them. All right, let's see here. There. Yeah, tentative interviews 11th through 13th, so the 12th would be that Thursday.
That would be good.
As a tentative, this is what we're thinking for interviews, we could hold Thursday afternoon the 12th.
Are we doing the three with the three most highest ones, is what we're doing again?
Probably,
I think for bids.
up to 3
Yeah,
is probably advantageous, but again, if it's if it's widespread. But yeah, I think we can choose to evaluate, let's see how many we get. Let's hope we get more than one.
Yeah.
All right, I think we will. Don't
And
get
we're
me
gonna
wrong.
keep it to that hour again?
Yeah, I think we'll keep a similar format, maybe we'll give them a couple extra more minutes and only have 5 minutes for transition. If that works, and then we'll see.
so what's your window?
Then you have probably 1:45 to 5:15, 5:30. We'll assume 3 hours, 3-hour blocks with transition built in. 2, 3, and 4 o'clock.
Need a bathroom for dinner.
Yeah, we'll have time in between.
I get the 5 minutes in between.
Yeah,
5 minutes, yeah, for
5 or 10 in transition, we'll give it 15 minutes. If we, I mean, we felt like they ran a little tight on time, for OPM, and it is.
yeah, any.
OPM's gonna be, there's gonna be more there.
Let's assume
Yeah, that's what I'm
we're
saying,
doing
there's
3.
more, there's gonna be more there.
Let's assume if that Thursday works, Thursday the 12th, I'll ask you guys to tentatively hold that. From,
All right, the
1:30 to, and pray that we don't have snow.
snow days the 13th then? Friday the 13th?
Oh, yeah, good catch.
Yeah.
All right. So that's really the only big item on the agenda,
45 to 5 what?
the 5:15, 5:30, like we did last night for post-meeting discussion, the fees.
1:45 to 5:30.
And then we can either, make a decision at that meeting. Or we can hold a special meeting Monday the 16th, just for the purposes of doing final decision discussion on that A service award.
I think.
If we can get it done on that Thursday, I think that would be preferred, and it would give us time and we can go through any final administratively with notice of award, yada, yada, yada. All right, so let's target the 12th is what we're doing. We told them in our calendar that we would select by the 17th, so we have time. But it looks like the 12th is gonna be our big day, so please keep that on your radar. Hold that slot in the afternoon. And I will give notice to the members that aren't here.
Would we involve ours in
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Yes, I'm hoping to get them during the qualifications process as well, and if there were recommendations inside us that.
Will you include that in your email tomorrow?
Yep. Okay, I will do the best I can on catching all of it.
Just
Yeah, no, so the
Just
first
make
big
it
ad,
up.
the first big ad, just seeing if they're willing to engage as quickly as we hope we need them to, as early as next Monday, and, here are the things we're hoping for, if not immediately, you know, we'd like to discuss them when we meet on that. History thing, yeah. So like we did.
Mhm.
I am optimistically thinking there's not gonna be any problems with this, Jeremy, but. That's fine.
Yes, that's fine.
Um. Okay, we have a vacancy. You guys already know about, but I sent you, the official letter of resignation from Mr. Borelli. So you have that. We have a vacancy. I was hoping to discuss where, if we've gotten any, interest, or what the selectmen's thought process was for filling that, whether it was gonna be, you know, trying to make a, one of our alternates a permanent member, whether or not they, like, that's not in our purview. I was looking for guidance on what they were going, you know, what they're anticipating. I don't even know if they got a waitress. So we gotta wait, but,
When would they?
It was supposed to meet tonight, they canceled tonight, they had a meeting scheduled for tonight, that got canceled, whenever they next meet, I can push, what I'll do is I'll ask Mike for an update via email, and I will distribute that to you guys for your knowledge as to what the anticipated timing is, and that's the best I can do right now. They are aware of it, obviously. I just don't know if they've met since the vacancy happened. It wasn't, what they had met once, it wasn't on the agenda because it was still very fresh, and Liliana had not yet formally submitted the resignation, so I don't think I can talk about it. So. I'll let you know once we find that out. That's it on that one, if you guys are okay.
We looking at schedule changes at all for that, if necessary, eventually.
Yeah. We can. Thank you.
I wasn't sure if, you know, depending on who's, they interview and they accept it. Does that mean they can meet the Mondays or?
So,
What's the question?
The schedule, I mean, like, you know, the alternates, or, because I know they have some conflicts right now, and what about the person that we can? What if they have?
so we are. Pete raised a question, yesterday, he has conflicts on Mondays. Potentially, or regularly with scouts, which is, I think, why he's all dressed up tonight. And question, you know, do we look at, are there opportunities to look at Justin's calendar, if that makes any sense? I know. We did set the I don't know what the process is with the clerk's office, we did post a calendar for the year with the clerk's office. For our regular, you know, the second and fourth Mondays. My big concerns are, one, I wanna make sure that the members that we do have can accommodate whatever new time we have, to the greatest extent we can. But we're also, which is the reason why Mondays, I think we're kind of pushed along initially, was because we have conflicts in this building and limited space. Tuesdays, Board of Ed meets, we have 3 members that would have a conflict. Potentially with that during budget season. Wednesdays is CIP, we have 3 members that will have a conflict with that during budget season. Thursdays is Board of Finance and Emergency Services Facilities Building Committee, and there isn't a third space in this building. And I think our wonderful recording secretary, also had a preference at that time for Mondays.
Fridays, you know.
Fridays are an option, but the office building is closed on Fridays, so that makes things a little bit more challenging. Just administratively, not to say we can't get in here, but when the office building, it just makes it harder.
You know, to say, because our alternates can't. The alternates, if we might, there might be an instance where you don't have a people.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the concern.
and yeah,
I'm just saying, because like, one of us wasn't here, we'd be.
I get it. No, I mean, and that, so,
To be honest with you, the reason I'm here is I got somebody else to
yes,
cover this. I need the adult coverage
Yeah.
for the scouts.
so,
Do you meet every week?
Every Monday, but because of the holidays on the Mondays and the snowstorms. The last couple Mondays, if we ended up having a meeting. It was available, I was available, plus. You know,
I'm just
as an
wondering
alternate,
if there's other Mondays that you would be free, besides what do we have, the second and the third?
no, it's every Monday,
It's every-
No, she's saying this group,
yeah,
you're every Monday and the school building committee is second and fourth.
second and
I was just wondering if you weren't every Monday, if we could do it on, but you're every single Monday.
Yep.
Okay.
so it is, what I will say is it is, you know, that's why we have. Alternates were a part of the formation of the committee, by the selectmen, so that we understood this is gonna be aggressive, so that we had the opportunity. I think the unique problem is challenges with availability for every meeting. Which is tough, and I'm not quite sure how to address unless, beyond asking you guys if there are other opportunities and exploring with the select stuff. What we can do to juggle other boards, if. we think that can happen.
Are you just asking space?
Uh,
I mean,
space and not conflicts with other
not to sound
members of
like
meetings.
sarcastic, but we do have 2 schools that we could have a school building committee.
Any school.
Yeah.
I mean, if we could go to Senator Hall,
I have an owl. We don't, I mean.
Yeah, if Thursdays are a viable option if we don't have space conflicts, particularly. once we
Or
get-
you could do Zoom only. I mean, we can set it up, I mean, I can't accommodate 100 people.
we did the library,
But
all be a lot.
And it is, but it's also not an easy setup.
Right, mechanics.
Right, so, but like, we could easily set up with all library. Or even center school library with adult chairs.
Do you have an owl
Yep.
in each building or?
It's just not, it's not to the ceiling, it would sit on a table and front.
It's portable, okay.
So
Yeah,
it
like-
gives you more options if you're.
Okay.
thinking
Well,
about
that
it.
makes the third, I mean, so. I'm gonna say Wednesday is a conflict for committee members
And Tuesdays.
and Tuesdays is a member, so Thursdays is really our only viable option, and that opens up Thursdays as a viable option if people are able to. Or Fridays.
So we could do it this
Yeah,
way.
Fridays don't work for me. I like this every other Friday thing.
Okay.
I would prefer not Fridays personally, but also it just. If I have to send out a meeting cancellation, no way of doing that.
Especially when
Friday.
summertime's coming, Friday's gonna,
Yes.
it's not.
Yeah, and
So, okay, so Thursday's an option.
Thursday,
I'll be on.
Thursday would be fun.
does Thursdays work for you? I can make Thursdays generally work, If, I mean, I have to figure out what the process is with Mike. And in the clerk's office for changing our regular meeting schedule. But I'm sure anything can be done, I mean,
No, you don't even change it. You leave it, you cancel whatever meetings you're not gonna have and you repost this, it's a special meeting.
Then we gotta put, the next mailer, we gotta change.
Unless, if you're
well,
trying,
that's,
that goes to the state.
that's what I'm trying to, that's what I don't know, and I also don't wanna cause confusion with the community, like,
If we have an missness.
so there are, so. Let me see what options, let me see what the process is between now and next week, when Mike gets back. And I'll ask the clerk's office about what needs to, if we were to change because of conflict. At this point, what do we do? If Thursday is viable, we can explore it for sure. But it would probably be a change of venue and a change of regular meeting date. And my only concern is, does that cause confusion for people trying to follow along at this stage of the game?
So if you post on the calendar, I guess.
I know, and I'm, you know, I want to accommodate. I want to accommodate as much as we can. So I'll leave it at that, let me talk to the selectmen. And see, in the clerk's office about. Changing the date.
And also, Jim, if the selectmen did decide to seat an alternate in the position, maybe we should get a new alternate. So we continue to have our 2
Well,
alternates.
and that is the other factor is making sure that.
That works.
We don't have like whoever comes on with the role is able to take on.
Just get-
Commitment because
Yeah.
it's important to have alternates here where we're having.
I think maybe if we change the date and if they're soliciting for another alternate, just tell them the meeting day, sure it's available, so we don't have to
So
do
they
this.
don't.
So we don't have
They
to,
can't be.
Well,
so we don't have to do this again.
Let me see what the process is, and if it looks like it's gonna be incredibly onerous, we're gonna have to just individual cancel and everything becomes a special meeting. That is not gonna happen, and we're not gonna be changing the date because it's going to cause too many problems. And we can't operate as a committee without a special meeting and not being able to change agendas. It's just not gonna happen. So,
I like the parking here. Whereas going across the street is all.
but let me see what limitations we're working under because I just don't know. And we'll take it from there. All right. I will hopefully have more information you guys own the next. On that end. All right. That was it. It is nine, oh my God, 9:41. So, there are a couple of things. Are you guys okay? Yeah, we're on to E, actually. Sorry, I'm not even on 6. 5E, operational impact consideration for consolidated. So this is something I just wanted to preliminarily discuss. Because it was definitely something we looked at, or the prior school building committee looked at. It was very abstract the last go around. But these are questions that are, this is the question I've gotten quite a bit, is particularly as it surrounds what happens with the early childhood education piece and impact the operational budget. It's something, Bill, that I think I was gonna ask Sam and kind of Bill as the board of ed rep, the superintendent, to start this conversation. It's a discussion we're gonna need to have as part of the overall impact of any options, but what the potential budgetary impact is to consolidating, both just through consolidation, but also then secondarily, what are the operational impact of the new head spec program if there is a change to what you would otherwise have? That is something I think we need to put on the Board of Ed's radar for discussion now, because I think I'd like to be able to present as detailed a picture as we can do without causing chaos with your staff. But at the same time, I think there needs to be some meat behind this ultimately for the town. And it can't just be, oh, we think there's a nebulous number of savings. I think we have to be able to justify something and understand what the impact is. And I don't want to step in your wheelhouse, but it's going to be a big part of this picture. So I'd ask that you start discussing it or consider discussing it with the Board of Ed and with your teams, Phil. Because we're going to need to roll something into a budget picture for any of these options. This will be a big part. So. Just putting it out there for now. If anybody has any other thoughts on it, or you don't need any answers, we don't need any detail now, but I think it's something that we have to start talking about, because if we wait till the end, it's going to be too late. So.
I was looking at the pre-K and projected stuff here too. It seemed to me that there was an expansion based on the guy's studies. You know what I mean? Just look at the way the numbers were versus now.
And there might be. I don't know. That's a question for the Board of Ed and for Phil's team. With that said, we also need to be able to weigh that against any cost benefit to whatever the project is. I mean, if we're talking about one staff versus $12 million of extra reimbursement.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. And that, I think, is closer to where we're gonna lie than anything else. But I think we need to be able to justify that.
I agree.
In as much detail as we can get, and not putting anybody on the spot, but I think we need to, figure out how we present that.
Are you saying for 519, how many additional staffs, and then what's the operational? That's point 1. And then point 2 is what's the operational cost savings as a result of going to 1 pre-K 3.
So I think what I would suggest is we look at, is you budget for what you have, right? Or budget for the kids. So I think we look at, this is the population we have now.
Yep.
What would consolidating, what would an operational model where we go from 2 schools to 1 look like? Serving a population that we have in student body that we have now. That is one piece. Then I think there's a piece saying, what is the impact of this? What is any change required to that operational model by this ed spec development? One piece is, and it's a standalone piece, is what is the impact of the early childhood education? You're not going to be able to answer that because you don't know what the requirements are yet. Yeah. But we will need to be able to answer that as a standalone piece. Then the second part of that is. And I don't even know if it's all that relevant, but yes, if there are additional classrooms and staff needed to get to our ultimate 519. What, if, that, we're gonna have to answer it, but it's gonna be the same, if we get the 519. You're gonna have that operational impact whether we have your school or not. It's-
Yeah,
So,
and
I
that,
mean, just that.
So it's kind of, it's a moot point, to a degree in the evaluation of this project.
Yep.
I mean,
But
you
it's
could,
good to
you
understand.
could have, I mean, it could be still different numbers because of the split. In the, support staff potentially is different. I mean, pre-K is one thing, but if we talking, additional staff support.
Yeah. The added elementary classrooms is easy. If the board just adds an elementary classroom at every level, and you're talking about 5 classrooms times, whatever the contract is for.
But I think we just wanna be, like, cause if that is the case,
That's
we
the
see that
easy-
growth.
The
That
harder
could be-
is the conversation about what's the consolidation look like for staffing. Administratively and UA staff.
Support staff.
Yeah,
I think also, how do we make, this is a projection that you study for enrollment, how are we gonna make that work in the existing schools? In terms of square footage,
Well, I think,
classes, I mean, do we need an expansion of the school if we don't? Do another school, are we gonna have the space to meet projections?
and if
And if
not,
not, then what's it gonna cost?
well, if more. Is gonna put 24 students in a classroom.
I mean, yeah, but there's a certain square footage where you can't do that.
Those, I think that,
So
that's another part of the.
And that's gonna drive, well, then we have to expand the school because we need another classroom. You can't do it,
And Hall has extra space.
but center,
But then that, is that great, we should figure it out,
yeah, we'll have to look at the options and stuff, but that. So this impact has to be in our option, what do we call it, 3 or whatever it is, of do nothing. Or don't build a new school or don't consolidate.
Just do renovations.
It could
Yes.
factor into that, but I think it's a lesser, in all honesty, I think the impact of the growth in the population growth. 9 years from now, if this were to come to pass, it's a budgetary problem for this town, your school right now. Because it's.
Right.
Well, I don't even know if it has.
It gives us comparative point though.
Yeah, but I don't think it's not specifically, I don't think it's a specific cost impact to this project necessarily, at least that's my initial thought, but Bill. You have your, this is where you and your team and your expertise and guidance and, your knowledge of what your staffing demands are, is.
I don't think that, to answer your question, Adam, I don't think there's any time. I think you just move this grade 4 back to all where there's space. And
Okay,
you'd make center school a pre-K through grade 3 again. Because you couldn't, with the class sizes as large as the projection is.
Yeah.
The only way you could do that would be if you're going into classes of 24 and 25. That'll not fly in this town.
okay, I just think we need to go through the exercise of showing this is what's gonna happen if, based on the data we have, that.
Yeah.
These are the impacts, and
That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I think it's a discussion point, and I think we can evaluate it, but I think the more critical pieces are.
Your operational side of it.
Starting your operational side of it and starting to wrap our mind around it, because we really. In 2.5 months, we're probably gonna want a rough idea what that is, so we can build it into a model.
It could also be used for our rationale in our newsletter where we're talking about reasons for revisiting the school.
Yeah, but I think we wanna have a firm justification of that before we, are saying this is what it is, because. We need. There needs to be there needs to be some degree of meat behind it, and that's a poor way of phrasing it, but if it's a nebulous value that we think, and there may be some.
hard numbers.
We need order of magnitude numbers, but that are based on a metric that is defensible, meaning this is. 0.9 becomes 0.5 staff, that sort of a thing. We're not,
You wanna know if there's operational savings. And
Yes.
if there is operational.
and how we
savings,
define that.
what is your number?
Yeah, and the OPM will help with, you know, your like utility intakes and stuff like that, but we'll be able to kind of work in some of that as well from a budgetary. We think we spent $40,000 a year just just placing gaskets on sinks at the point. You know, like, there's some of that, the maintenance reductions, I think there's that, and needs to comprehensively be looked at, you know, assist with that.
Yeah.
I know you started that, you did that, some of that process last time, so I'm sure. So just throwing that out there is something for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Anything else on one? That was given my note. All right, good. Old business, property evaluation research. You have 5 seconds for a brief update or no update?
I got no update really, honestly.
I got something. I tried to use the system. It will not load. The GIS,
On the town website,
it just spins and spins. I mean, it loads. It says you must have some sort of required, you know, it says it's not required now, but it will be in the future, and it won't load. I cannot get it to load. I don't know.
I played with it, I got it to load, I can play.
I wonder if it's just a system issue, but I was trying to play with it the other day and nothing. So
You can reach out to Mike and see why, but.
what the heck was going on with it? Maybe it's I'll try it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, but I did look at some of these. I was trying to go through the utility wise on the spreadsheet. Trying to, you know, look at some of the street view and where street pays, where it's, you know.
Yeah, so again, that was just a list that I just kind of quickly did. That's what I had. But
Yeah, on the first sheet, there's a lot of options.
there's a lot of, that's why they're there, right? There's a lot of options there.
Yeah, so, some of these are, what would you say, isolated.
Yeah, it's very tough, but
So,
That's a good way to.
they're not in prime location.
And are they dry? That's the other question about some of those
Well,
isolated spots.
Some of, again, you just need 20 acres of drive, right? I mean, you don't even need that. I don't think, for what we're looking for,
So,
but
yeah, I think that's gonna be one of the things that the OPM.
OPM can help you with that a
It
lot.
makes a recommendation one way or the other as to whether it needs to be viable, given our timeline, if that is our timeline.
and given the environmental and the.
It's why, that's the one that keeps me out.
Yeah.
It's I'm not,
And that's why those top 4 or 3, whatever it is, are there, because those are, right,
That's, yeah,
The possibilities, is that, I
there are
haven't seen the list.
potential, as say, augmentation.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
How you say that? They mesh together because we have multiple ones, so it's not just one big one. You
you're
can
talking about
add a few together.
adjacent lots that
Yes.
can.
Yeah, there's adjacent lots in town that are smaller acreage, which can be meshed together to make one piece that you want.
In a good location with utility.
Yes,
But not before June 30th, it's the likelihood.
right, but,
Yeah.
correct.
But it's. In terms of location wise, utility wise, and with access.
Yeah.
That those options are good.
All right. So I think. So the next steps are to engage the OPM in that discussion as early as possible, so
I think that's where I think that list is not that bad. I mean, there's others that's there. That's why I passed it along for other people's input, but I think the OPM may be able to assist us farther.
So our big discussion points at our next meeting are going to be the architect's services qualifications review. Hopefully Miller #2 finalization. And this property evaluation. Initial discussion with the OPM, I want to log in what, but I want to at least understand what the potential impacts and timeline, for evaluation, appropriate,
So
like testing, stuff,
they had questions too.
phase ones.
Yeah, phase one, no.
You know, whatever. Because quite frankly, I think it could drive it as it could eliminate some of our options.
It could.
Essentially right off the bat, and it could save,
A lot of time.
or it could force us to jump on that really quickly and start to, and make
That's why I think we need some of their recommendations, is where I
Yeah.
think we gotta go.
All right,
I mean, I have the other list, but that one's so big, it's.
all right. What we'll do, we'll talk to them about it next Monday, and then we'll hopefully get them on board next Monday, and have that discussion, and then it'll really wind up being an aggressive push, I think, after that.
Yep.
Or not. We'll
Right,
find
or
out. Okay. So we will table that for further discussion until next meeting. There is an email, moving on to 6B, ed specs update by Board of Education. Bill, in Sam's absence, I'll ask you to relay this, but there's an email from Sam as our Board of Ed representative. The Board of Ed had discussed this at one of your meetings, about updating the ed spec to meet the enrollment projections, and I guess the consensus is lined up. They're looking for, they didn't want to make changes to the ed specs until they had opportunity for us to engage the OPM and advise on any additional impact beyond classrooms to make for a comprehensive understanding of what adjusting for that 519 that we'll do, which I think is prudent. So we just have a letter from Sam basically saying that. And that'll be one of the other 18 things we're going to ask the OPM to do immediately. And hope for the best. That one I don't think is as time. And it is what it is, and I think there needs to be an operating, like, there's a number of classrooms, so the design team's gonna need that. So by the end of March, we're probably gonna wanna have an understanding of what that, and the latest. Yeah. I'll take it.
I don't think it's hard.
I don't think it is either, but
They already had some discussion.
yeah, I think the process is right. I did listen to your discussion after the fact. I went back and watched that meeting, and it was a good one, and I'm glad you held them. Until we, I think that was the right call personally, so, we'll take it from there. Yep. All right, 16 project options. There is no further on that until we get some design team on board. That is just, we'll postpone further discussion on that. We talked a little bit about what the work plan is, and the OPM and the state is going to drive a lot of that. Some of these options I'm going to wait, and we're going to let the OPM take over. And as you can see from the response to that session from Colliers, there's a series of very quick steps that are going to have to likely happen. So that'll be forthcoming. And for project considerations and assignment log, still haven't done that, I'm sorry. That's not me, but we use the meetings and the running task list. So for task list today, I have to follow up with Mike about everybody's emails. Bill, you were gonna look into the post of that meeting, our most recent meeting recording, and or this one when it comes out. The committee as a whole will need to have, I will be distributing qualifications. Receive qualification packages for the architect and engineering firms for you guys on by Wednesday. And rankings back to me by Sunday night for discussion at our Monday night meeting. I am going to reach out to Mike via email tomorrow morning and let him know that my recommendation for college reward. I will suggest the college with all of them we discussed tonight for day 1 and 2. And then I will circle back with Lisa to hopefully develop a rough draft of melon number 2. And she, if I haven't heard from her tomorrow, I will reach out and just submit the Willington Wire paperwork. And she had already started that, I think, with MHA has a communication, so I'll let her finish that part. I believe she's back tomorrow as well, so. Yeah, I think that's it, right? And we're gonna post that flyer to socials. All right. Anybody else want to add anything else on this? While we're talking about it? Yay, nay? Excellent. All right, that is our agenda for tonight, guys. Thank you very much for sticking with it. And I will stay with our start to normal. 2.5 hours is not bad for us. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second. And people second that. Wonderful. All those in favor, I'm just gonna, we're all here.
Aye.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. The ayes have it. Thank you, everybody. The meeting is adjourned at 10:01 PM.
Good job getting over those people.
Thank you.
Good job getting over it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will be remote, actually,
Okay.
stay in call center.